well when they said they have a eldritch god inside a dryer in a New Orleans insane asylum. I cannot believe it, but here it is. Hello, Sockleton. I have a question for you. What do you know of the game Sherlock Holmes, The Awakened?
Oh, that game! It was made in 2007, and it shows what would happen if the world's greatest detective slowly broke his mind. I should know! I was the one who pitched it! Me! Sockleton! Recognize! And I wasn't as intimidating as the main antagonist!
To be fair, what Sockleton said is right about breaking Sherlock's mind. There are two things you need to know. One, Sherlock Holmes is one hell of a detective. He is the world's greatest detective. The man can make a deduction in 5 seconds flat.
Cleverly concealed in the hand of not a hook. Just metaphor.
John, shouldn't we help you?
No, you want to cut him off the street. Carry on.
Look, the executioner attached it to a harness, thus allowing the weight to be distributed around the waist and the neck to remain intact. Oh my lord, I can't feel my cheeks. Might we continue this at ground level?
How do you manage it, Holmes?
I managed it with braces and belts and a coat.
And two, when it comes to the work of H.P. Lovecraft, there are two things you need to know. One, when it comes to Lovecraft, the man is really a paranoid racist. But that never means that people doesn't love his cosmology of the eldritch gods, beings who are so powerful that they are destined to destroy the world. Very few people made it out alive when they confront an eldritch god, and very fewer made it out with their minds intact. Just to give you an idea of how basically dangerous this is, Batman didn't even survive a confrontation with Cthulhu. Yeah, the man who literally has contingency plans for every occasion broke down and turned into this animal. Of course, the game reached a major success, but basically Frogwares decided to do what Capcom did to the entire Resident Evil franchise, make a remake.
Wait! It's a remake?!
That's right, Sockleton, they made a remake. Yeah, they basically updated the graphics and updated the controls to make it similar to that of Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. But of course, with a giant Lovecraftian twist. And keep in mind, Frogware was the one who made The Sinking City, and the main antagonist was not Cthulhu, but Cthulhu's daughter, Cthulhu, in which I recommend if you love Lovecraftian horror. And basically when it comes to the minds who bait the eldritch gods, some minds are easier to break, like Sockleton's.
Oh, really? You know how to break me?
Do you really want me to let you dry in the sun?
The sun!
But even so, Frogware had definitely faced a lot of delays, especially when Russia is invading Ukraine. But even with the fighting, they still managed to pull through and create the remake. So I thank you, Sockleton, for this wonderful interview, and as promised, with that said and done, let's begin with the review. First up, let's get a few things out of the way first, so that way I can focus more on the gameplay and the story. Yes, I am aware that Frogware does have a few glitches in some of their Sherlock Holmes games, but that doesn't disturb me, it's only a minor bug. Second, the time change. The original game takes place in 1893. At that time, Sherlock already had his epic confrontation with Moriarty and fall down Reichenbach Falls. In here, I'm guessing it's around 1883, just a few years after our study in Scarlet. But nonetheless, this is one of Sherlock's most mind-boggling cases he will ever experience. And it all starts with Sherlock's newspaper gone missing.
I don't see the Strand. Where is it?
Pardon me?
I am on the precipice of uncovering a pattern of crime across London spanning many months and involving many men. The missing paper cannot be a coincidence.
That's preposterous.
My dear fellow, life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man can invent.
Well, life used your newspaper to wipe its posterior, so after that unpleasant discovery this morning, I disposed of it.
No, that will not do. Grab your coat, Dr. Watson. Let us hope nobody has collected the dust.
With that said in mind, let's go over gameplay. The gameplay is pretty much similar to that of Sherlock Chapter 1. This is a game that refuses to hold your hand. While it basically does give you an open area of several parts of London, such as Baker Street, the Port, and New Orleans, there are basically moments in the game where it does not hold your hand. While you can find clues and also make observations with deduction, basically you have to decide what is the right deduction, because the path you might follow might lead to a dead end. Here's an example. Sherlock is basically making an observation by taking a good look at this woman right here. She can see that there's makeup smearing from her eyes. Now this could lead to two things. Either she's grieving from her husband from crying, or it's just the rainwater that's messing up her makeup and she got over the death of her husband. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't.
Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another.
Here's another example. Basically, this bartender's clothing is way too tight, but we can clearly see her stomach area is growing, so that means one thing. She is aware that she's with child.
Your clothes are already tight and soon they won't fit at all. How far along are you?
I thought I'd hidden it better. How did you know? Are you a doctor?
In a manner of speaking.
He's not. He merely has the ego of one. I apologize, miss. Mr. Holmes is fond of his observations, but I am the doctor here, not him. Do you need any help?
I'm fine, thank you. I would rather not discuss my condition, nor let word of it spread.
Alright, enough stroking Sherlock's ego of deduction, let's get on to the Eldritch horrors. Basically, the first location of this horrific case, it starts in the pier, and Sherlock starts to break his mind as he sees the horrors. Overall, this is basically what was lacking in the original game. Seeing Sherlock slowly break his mind, which is pretty much accurate to what happens to a character they face in Eldritch God. The first time, he basically grows some sort of stubble. And there are moments where I have to basically think like Lovecraft and look at the words. Because one thing for notice, I did not know that I have to literally jump off the platform and die.
Forward is the abyss. Phew, I didn't die.
But the one person that helps tether Sherlock back to reality is John Watson. And he's doing his best to help Sherlock in this case.
Right.
Fine. Watson, I'm fine, thank you for asking.
Fine? By Jove, you should have heard the way you called out my name.
It was just a game of shadows.
Of course, with this game, it basically takes place outside of London. One of its first locations was in an insane asylum in Switzerland. As Sherlock goes deeper into the abyss, he basically met a monk and it slowly deteriorates him and slowly loses his mind.
Get out of my head!
Your mind fisted, devoid of soul. Find reverence for the one and tremble.
Lord!
Left your surrender your soul and become a servant of
Please! No more! Stop it! Watson! John! Somebody!
wretched mortal. Do not fear what is to come. Let him rupture our world anew. Awaken and let the
World behold! The light of the abyss is the light from the abyss. Get out of my head.
And he already guessed where the next location is. New Orleans. To be honest, this is actually one of the best locations in the game. It's brightly lit, it almost looks like Cordona, and they actually reference it in the game. And of course, we get closer to the troop and near the boglands, Sherlock is getting more and more and more unhinged.
Festering soul and let me feel. Eyes without purpose and now see the truth. Tear me mind from me flesh, score me festering soul. Phantoms of nothing, we are born to die, filth in the eyes of our eldritch lord.
Free my festering soul and let me feel.
Oh, please, I wish to return. Free me, let me return. Free me and rejoice.
Eyes without purpose, I now see the truth. Tear my mind from my flesh. Holmes, are you all right? Here, let me help. I'm fine. Holmes? Sherlock? What the hell were you doing? He almost killed you. I don't... You're right. Let's go, Watson.
And this brings the worry of one character that actually never appeared in the original game. Mycroft. Ugh. Okay, for those who don't know Sherlock that much, Mycroft is Sherlock's older brother by 7 years. He basically is smarter than Sherlock Holmes himself. He basically is a member of the Diogenes Club and a minor member of the British government. But due to his high intelligence, he's basically quoted, he is the British government. Even though he's a pain in the ass for Sherlock, that doesn't mean Mycroft doesn't care about his own brother, especially during the state he is. I mean, look at him. He looks like Benedict Cumberbatch after he took so much cocaine and opium.
Friends, once more! Or close the war up with our English dead! Set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath. Build up every spirit to its full height. On, you noblest English's blood is fed of fathers from war-proof. And you, good yeoman, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the metal of your pasture. Which I doubt not, for there is none of you here so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you standing like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot.
Okay, time to leave Sherlock to rest for a second and just go on with John. Basically, your task is just to get the location of the final ritual. Of course, you do that, and Mycroft actually gets a task for John. And believe me, what he found surprised me.
Well, there was one thing. In his notes I found a handwritten M, but it didn't match Hawke's other writing.
No.
Miss me?
Too early. Okay. Found out that the final ritual will take place in a lighthouse in Scotland. We go there, and this is where Sherlock tries his best to not break apart. As Watson disturbs the final ritual, Sherlock faces the cult leader. Basically, he tries his hardest to stay in reality as much as possible. Alas, but the cult leader basically commits suicide by jumping off into the rocks below, and Sherlock remains one of the few to remain his mind intact as he faced the power of an eldritch god. Dr. Watson got every bit of detail from both of them and wrote it down in a story called The Awakened. He told them not to publish it because it will discredit them and think of them like madmen. Sherlock just rests, and Watson burned the copy of The Awakened. And so, that was Sherlock Holmes The Awakened. Honestly, it was alright. I have to give Frogwares some credit, as they finally finished the game while the invasion was happening. Story, amazing. Gameplay, amazing. I do have a bit of an issue, such as the pricing for the game and of course some of the bugs. Overall, there are some minor details that actually took really great effect, from Sherlock's deteriorating mind breaking to possibly the comfort that John gives to Sherlock as he tries his best to bring him back to reality. I'll give this game a 7.1 out of 10. Besides Sherlock Holmes The Awakened, I wonder what other remake can they do?